Gypsy Rose accidentally showed her baby on a live stream. Adorable, right? Yeah, and this was totally by accident.
Oh, please. Did Gypsy Rose Blanchard really think we'd buy that her baby's face just happened to slip into frame during a live stream? Come on now. This wasn't some innocent oopsie. This was a strategic move. And if you've been watching closely, you saw it coming from a mile away. For weeks, Gypsy's been playing peekaboo with the internet, giving us just enough to stay hooked. A blurry back of the head shot here, a sneaky side profile there, all leading up to this very convenient accidental reveal. And just like that, boom, the baby's face is everywhere. Coincidence? Absolutely not. This was phase 2 of Gypsy's master plan to stay relevant, and honey, it's working. Let's break it down. Phase 1 was her Lifetime docuseries, letting the world into her life post-prison, playing the sympathetic figure. But now, phase 2 is all about the baby. And let's be real, this child is about to become Gypsy's golden ticket to staying in the headlines. "Oh, I never wanted to exploit my baby," she'll say, while simultaneously signing deals that put that child front and center. Sound familiar? It should, because this is exactly how the influencer playbook works. But wait, it gets juicier. Phase 3 is already in motion. Mark my words, a reality show is coming. Gypsy Rose, the mom era. Think about it. Struggles of motherhood, adjusting to life with a newborn, maybe even some drama with the baby's father. Oh, you know the cameras will be rolling. And guess who's going to be the main character? That's right, the baby. This wasn't just a slip-up. It was the first trailer for Gypsy's next big project. So, was this live stream accident really an accident? Not a chance. This was a calculated move, and the internet isn't fooled. Gypsy Rose is playing the game, and playing it well. Buckle up, because this is only the beginning.
It looks like Gypsy Rose won't be getting her dream Disney wedding anytime soon. This article from E! News was written a couple days ago. It's titled, "Why Gypsy Rose Blanchard Isn't Ready to Marry Ken Urker After Welcoming Baby." Ken's mother in a live stream confirmed this. Her words were, "They're dating and getting to know each other." Okay.
Do I want to change my name? I'm not sure they're talking to me or you, but if you're asking me, no. Well, then my name is just fine.
And if you're asking me, I would be more than happy to change it to Gypsy Rose Urker. You're crazy. There are times that I feel really guilty.
Okay.
Just because, I know there's been a lot of change for him. So, I told him I don't want him to stay because of the baby. I want him to want this relationship to work.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard is a master at shaping her own narrative. And this time, she's working overtime to spin the story of her relationship with Ken. For weeks, she's been telling the press she's in no rush to get married, claiming she wants to take things slow, learn from past mistakes, Ryan Anderson, and make smarter choices this time around. But here's the real question. If she's not sprinting down the aisle, does that mean she's planning to raise this baby alone? Let's peel back the layers, because Gypsy's version of events might not be the full story. Sure, she's telling the media she's the one hitting the brakes, but behind the scenes, all signs point to Ken being the reluctant one. His lukewarm energy, lack of public affection, and total absence of wedding talk suggest he's the one pumping the brakes. Hard. And honestly, it seems like he's already crushed any fairy tale ending Gypsy was hoping for. Now, let's talk about the glaring contradictions. Gypsy swears she's moving slower with Ken to avoid another Ryan-level disaster. Fair enough. But then she drops the bombshell that hormones played a huge role in her decision to have a baby with Ken. Wait, what? So she's being cautious with marriage, but jumped headfirst into motherhood with a guy she was allegedly cheating on her husband with. She says she doesn't regret the pregnancy, but even she admits things escalated way too fast. So what's the truth? Stick around and watch the video all the way to the very, because trust me folks, this story is only getting juicier. But before we continue, smash that subscribe button and turn on post notifications because you do not want to miss what happens next. Let's continue.
Okay, I'm going to read this and just speed it up. Gypsy Blanchard, who shares daughter Aurora with Ken Urker, explained what she regrets about her divorce from ex Ryan Anderson and why she doesn't want to make a hasty marriage decision. Why she doesn't want to. Y'all, I'm pretty sure it's the opposite. The Gypsy Rose Life After Lockup star explained why she is taking her relationship with Ken Urker more slowly than her past relationships, especially after welcoming daughter Aurora in December. After all, Gypsy Rose and Ken,
so disappointed.
who were formally engaged in 2018 but split in 2019, rekindled their romance after the 33-year-old filed for divorce from Ryan Anderson in April 2024. When we reconnected, it was the hormones, Gypsy Rose said of Ken on the March 17th episode of Life After Lockup. The hormones made me move so fast. Do I regret it? I don't regret the choices I've made with him. What I regret is how I went about it. She added, I wouldn't take it back, but I wish it would have been different for Ryan's sake. People got hurt, and I recognize that a lot more now. The last thing I want to do is make another hasty decision.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard is out here dropping cryptic hints about her so-called rushed decisions. But which one is she really talking about? Was it the whirlwind romance and lightning-fast marriage to Ryan Anderson, or the equally sudden divorce that followed? Because let's be honest, this girl went from I do to I'm done in record time. Now, she's claiming she's learned her lesson, insisting she won't make another impulsive move. But wait a minute. She's already full speed ahead with her new man, Ken. So, what's the truth? Does she genuinely regret jumping into things too quickly? Or is she just swapping out one rushed relationship for another? The mixed signals are giving us whiplash. And if history tells us anything, this roller coaster is far from over.
Well, for me, I always felt like a very strong connection. Like we were, as they say, cut from the same cloth. It's like when you're so connected to someone that you really don't need words to speak to them. They're there for you. And that was what I felt for him 7 years ago, and it still rings true today.
Yeah. What about you? Yeah, I mean, it was like the chemistry, the connection that we had, the ability to talk for hours on end and not get bored, and just realizing that this is very much my person, you know, someone who I confided in with everything, and yeah, someone who I just really enjoyed having in my life.
How do you communicate today, like when there's a disagreement?
I think we're both the type of people that get in our feelings. But the good thing is the recovery. The recovery is excellent. I'll be one to go up to him and be like, you know what? I acted a little harsh. I'm sorry. I love you. And he's the same way. So we have great issue resolving techniques.
You're dating.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard says she's all about taking things slow this time around. But is she really? Because when you peel back the layers of her relationship with Ken, it's hard to ignore the subtle but undeniable push for a major commitment. Sure, she's not outright demanding a ring tomorrow, but let's be real. She's waiting for one. So the real question is, how much of this slow and steady act is genuine self-growth? And how much is just a calculated move to keep Ken from running for the hills? And let's not forget, Gypsy has a history of diving headfirst into life-altering decisions. So if she's truly committed to avoiding past mistakes, why does it feel like she's already nudging Ken toward forever? The signs are all there. The longing glances in interviews, the not-so-subtle hints about wanting stability, the way she lights up when he talks about their future, it's giving, I'm ready when you are. But here's where things get even more interesting. In a recent interview, Gypsy dropped a major clue about where her head's at, saying, with my divorce finalized, that's when we move into known territory. I am free. I am not married to Ryan anymore. I am not held down by that. Anything can happen. And anything is doing a lot of heavy lifting here. Because while she's framing it as freedom, Ken's isn't really making big declarations of love, calling her his ride or die, and talking about their future like it's a done deal. So how long before taking it slow turns into another impulsive all-in commitment?
Leave Ken. Come back with me. I know that it's Ken's baby, but I will raise the baby as if it was my own. I'm like, and what happens to Ken? He just disappears in thin air?
He's saying that, but one day he might grow hate because it's a constant reminder of Ken.
I'm just like, I'm happy and I want you to move on to be happy. And he keeps himself in this bubble of like waiting to see what happens with me. And he's preventing himself from meeting somebody that could be the love of his life. It could be the perfect person for him.
Right.
There's still that lingering hope that I will go back to him. and we can pick up where we left off, even with the pregnancy. And too much has happened for that.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard is living her supposed fairy tale, fresh out of prison, in love with Ken, and expecting a baby. But behind the smiles and social media posts, there's a very calculated energy brewing. She insists she's embracing freedom, yet every move she makes seems to nudge Ken one step closer to a proposal. So, is this really about love and new beginnings? Or is Gypsy strategically setting the stage for her next big chapter? Gypsy isn't outright demanding a proposal, but she's not exactly playing it cool either. She's framing marriage as the obvious next step, especially now that she's pregnant. Smart? Absolutely. Subtle? Not even close. By positioning it as the natural progression, she avoids looking desperate while still keeping the pressure on Ken. And let's be real, after everything she's been through, she wants security. But here's the kicker. She gave Ken a promise ring while she was still married to Ryan. Was that a romantic gesture or a preemptive claim on her next husband? If Gypsy's truly moved on, why does Ryan keep popping up in her narrative? She claims she's no longer held down by him, yet she constantly references their past, almost like she's measuring Ken against him. Is it just trauma processing, or is there a subconscious comparison game happening? Either way, it's giving mixed signals. If she's all in with Ken, why does Ryan still hold so much real estate in her storytelling? A baby changes everything, and Gypsy knows it. While she insists she's not rushing marriage, pregnancy naturally speeds up timelines. She's framing it as fate, but let's be honest, this baby isn't just a blessing, it's a deadline for Ken to step up. And with Gypsy's history of orchestrated narratives, you've gotta wonder, is this the universe aligning, or Gypsy curating her happy ending? At the end of the day, Gypsy's is someone who's learned how to control her narrative. Every interview, every post, every hint about marriage feels deliberate. So, is she letting love unfold naturally, or carefully scripting her next act? What do you think? Let me know in the comments section below.
I have my own opinion about that, which I have shared.
Could you share with us?
I don't like having those conversations.
Okay.
Number one, I'm still going through the divorce, which will be finalized sometime this month. Okay. However, I'm not the type of person to say, okay, just because we're having a child means you have to marry me. I'm not the type of person to tell you how to live your life. Like, I don't want to be that person to say, you will marry me. You will, I will move in with you. He has his own life. And if he wants to marry me, he will propose. He will make his own decisions based on what he wants to do. So I don't put my input in.
Okay.
So you moved to New Orleans, you got a new job, you got a new place. How is it being so close to her?
It's great.
Yeah.
I mean, she's only an hour away, so we get to spend a lot of time together. And we get 2 days a week. She's allowed to stay at my house, and then the other 5, she's got to be back home.
Okay, not bad.
So yeah, it's not too bad. And like I said, it's only an hour drive, so it's not that crazy.
Gypsy insists she's not rushing her relationship with Ken, but let's be real, handing him a promise ring while she's still legally married to Ryan Anderson isn't exactly taking it slow. That's not just moving fast, that's practically sprinting down the aisle in emotional terms. A promise ring? At this stage, that's not a casual gesture. It's a soft proposal. A not-so-subtle way of saying, you're next. And here's the thing. This isn't Gypsy's first time speeding through relationship milestones. Look at her past. From Ryan to Ken, she's shown a pattern of accelerating commitments, whether her partner is fully on board or not. The promise ring alone sends major mixed signals. On one hand, she's telling Ken she won't pressure him, but on the other, she's literally locking him into a symbolic commitment before her divorce is even finalized. But wait, it gets even more complicated. Remember that emotional therapy session where Gypsy broke down in tears, pleading with Ken to stay with her for love, not just because of the baby? While it was a raw, vulnerable moment, it also revealed something deeper. Gypsy isn't just looking for a partner. She's looking for security, for reassurance that Ken is all in. And that kind of intensity, it puts serious pressure on a relationship that's barely had time to breathe. So what's really going on here? Is Gypsy genuinely conflicted about what she wants, or is she subconsciously pushing Ken toward a future she's already mapped out? Because from where we're standing, this relationship is already loaded with expectations, emotional ultimatums, and a timeline that seems to be moving at Gypsy's speed, not his.
Y'all, But the reality TV star may not have to worry too much because, as she noted in the episode filmed last year, Ken hasn't proposed, and he hasn't hinted around proposing. He's just making big statements of love, she continued, and with an upcoming baby, with my divorce about to be finalized, that's when we moved into unknown territory that I am free. I'm not married to Ryan anymore. I'm not held down by that. Anything can happen. Amid the anxiety of planning for the future, Gypsy Rose, who was released from prison in December 2023 after serving 8 years for her role in her mom Claudine Dee Dee Blanchard's 2015 deletion, is simply enjoying being with Ken on her time. I have loved this man for 7 years, she explained. I'm so happy and content. Is everything rainbows and sunshine? Hell no. But I feel like we've gotten to a place that we can be open with each other about the time that we're separated. We are able to handle things in a more mature way now. Despite not having any official plans for marriage, the couple are certain of some of their wedding day details, including that Aurora will be our little flower girl.
Gypsy says she's taking things slow with Ken, but let's be real, her actions are telling a different story. She's constantly bringing up marriage, either hinting at it or outright stating that she's just waiting for Ken to propose. And while that might sound innocent enough, there's an underlying expectation that makes it clear she's not as passive in this as she claims to be. From the very start, she's been the one steering conversations toward commitment, despite insisting she's letting things unfold naturally. Ken, on the other hand, doesn't seem fully locked into these discussions. His hesitation isn't exactly shocking, considering Gypsy's history of moving at lightning speed in relationships. The whole Ryan situation, yeah, that went from 0 to married to over in record time. That alone is enough to make Ken pump the brakes, especially when Gypsy's behavior is starting to feel like deja vu. She says she wants to take things slow, but if she's already waiting for a proposal, how slow is slow, really? Then there's Ken's own reluctance to dig deeper. He's not jumping at the idea of therapy, and he's definitely not leaning into these future planning talks. When Gypsy throws out marriage hints, his response is basically a blank stare. If he was all in, wouldn't he at least acknowledge it? Instead, it feels like he's dodging the conversation altogether, which says a lot. But let's not forget the rumors swirling around Ken himself. There's been speculation about his past, including whispers about previous relationships with men and alleged activity on Grindr. If there's truth to that, it could explain why he's not in a rush to commit to Gypsy, because he might still be sorting out his own feelings. And if Ken has his own uncertainties, tying himself down in a marriage with Gypsy who has a history of impulsivity might not be the smartest move. At the end of the day, both of them seem to be dancing around major issues. Gypsy's actions contradict her words, and Ken's hesitations raise even more questions. Whether this relationship is built to last or just another fast-track romance heading for a crash remains to be seen. But one thing's for sure, there's way more going on beneath the surface than either of them is admitting.
We are moving in that direction, Ken told E! News earlier this month about solidifying wedding plans. We don't have an exact date, but it's definitely in the forefront of our lives. It's something that we want as a family, and eventually we'll get there. So just stay tuned for that. Gypsy Rose is trying to clean up her image for a reason. She's trying to reinvent herself online as a mommy influencer, which a lot of us saw coming. With, well, we might get married, it's kind of a tease, right? Even though a lot of us believe that that will absolutely not happen. And we've been told by family members and sources that there's no plans, but I guess we never know what the future holds.
Why hasn't Ken proposed to Gypsy yet? That's the million-dollar question that has everyone talking. Gypsy insists she's just waiting on Ken to make his move, but his hesitation suggests there's more to the story. Could it be cold feet, or is Gypsy strategically framing the situation to protect her own image? Let's break it down. Gypsy has made it clear she wants to get married, but Ken, he seems unsure, and honestly, who could blame him? He's watched Gypsy make impulsive romantic decisions before, and the last thing he wants is to become another chapter in her unpredictable love life. Add in the swirling rumors about her past relationships, and suddenly, Ken's hesitation isn't just about love. It's about survival in the court of public opinion. Jumping into marriage isn't just about feelings. It's about the scrutiny, the expectations, and the inevitable drama that follows. Even Ken's mother, Raina, seems to understand his reluctance. When asked about their relationship during a live stream, she kept it real. saying that Ken and Gypsy are still getting to know each other and figuring out if marriage is even the right move. That's a major contrast from Gypsy's take, where she paints the delay as just a waiting game for Ken to propose. But if Ken's own family isn't convinced he's ready, should we be? This all exposes a deeper issue. Gypsy's push for marriage might not be as straightforward as she claims. She's presenting herself as the one taking things slow. But is that really the truth? Or is she trying to shift the narrative away from the possibility that Ken just isn't fully invested? Instead of admitting that her partner's reluctance is a factor, she makes it seem like she's the one in control of the timeline. That's not just spin, it's an attempt to reframe the entire situation. At its core, this situation raises a bigger question. Is Gypsy unintentionally gaslighting her audience? By downplaying Ken's hesitations and pushing the idea that she's simply being patient, she avoids addressing the very real possibility that Ken may never be ready to take that step with her. It's a subtle but powerful way of shifting the blame away from her relationship dynamics and onto Ken's supposed indecisiveness. So, what's the real reason behind the delay? Is Ken just not that into Gypsy, or is he taking a much-needed pause before committing to someone with a history of instability? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe for more updates on this unfolding story.